Good morning, Global Stampers. At least it's still morning here in Colorado. This is Jenny Harrell from Celebrate the Journey, and I am joining you today on Global Stampers. Let's see if we can get this going. I think so. Boy, it just came up really quick. I'm excited. Sometimes it takes a while for Facebook to acknowledge that we're live. So it's Friday, and we have Global Stampers today and tomorrow. And if you've been on all day today, you've seen Jackie and Katie, I think. I watched them, but I can't remember who was on, with some really simple one-sheet wonders. And now you get me with a not quite as simple, but we're going to make it as simple as possible. So I chose to focus on the modern Christmas designer series paper. That might not be what you like. You might not like the modern look, but with this bundle or with this stamp set and die set, you can switch out the paper and you don't have to have the modern look. So we'll talk about that as we make the cards. But I love the black, gold, and white. I also love the fact that if I don't use all the paper, this will work fine for birthdays, Valentine's, whatever else. It's a nice neutral design. Here's some mistletoe. This one I guess you do have to use for Christmas with fa la 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 la, but nice and neutral. You could use this for any other, doesn't have to be the Christmas season. This one does not have to be Christmas season. Same here. Nice masculine. You could mix this with some browns, blacks, whites, and get a nice masculine card. Beautiful ornaments if you just want a simple card. Again, a kind of a neutral design. And a neutral design. So even though this was designed for Christmas, I think it's very versatile and can be used for non-Christmas cards if you have leftovers. I'm pretty much sticking to this stamp set. I am using the dies from Words for the Season for Christmas wishes. So that's also there. But for these cards, you also can switch out sentiments. It's not an issue. Now let's look at the dies. I think we can put that away. It comes with a circle, nice circle. So if you need another layering, it doesn't necessarily have to be that ornament. A star. I believe this is, see if it's stuck to go across the band of the ornament if you wanted your ornament to be have a design on it. You have two different trees, kind of the modern tree and then a traditional. These are little accent pieces that kind of coordinate with the designer series paper. These are little toppers for your Christmas ornament, and then a star. And we're going to use some of these, mostly these, I believe. So we're going to put those to the side. We are using the star, but I did, since we are using a lot of stars, I went ahead and pre-cut some stars, or we would be here all day cutting stars. I'm going to move this out of the way because I tend to hit it and slide it around and it drives me crazy. So this is my design. It's a 6x6. You're going to end up with some nice big 3x3, 2x3s, some 1x1, a 2x2, and some smaller strips. We're going to use 99% of this. So we'll see. Oh, I did leave out one die from that set. We'll see it when I get to that card. So we're going to end up with, let's see, well, this is not true to scale here. A 3 by 3, 2 by 3, 2 by 2, all these ones 1 by 1 pieces here, our little strips down at the bottom, and then some 1 by 4s and a 2 by 1. So those are all the pieces that you will end up with. Now I'm going to layer these on gold foil. So each layer will be just 1/8 inch larger than the size. So if this is 3 by 3, it's 3 1/8 by 3 1/8. So you'll get that drift there. So I don't have to repeat all the measurements. So it's just 1/8 larger than the piece that you see. So let's get started. Now I'll tell you, if you like these cards and want to duplicate them, I would maybe, you know, if you're going to make 4 sets, I would do them in batches. I would never do one at a time because you'll be spending a lot of time worrying about that. So let's look at our cards. I had to get them all done at one time. Here's one, very simple. Just uses that little strip to anchor our tree. Here's one. We're going to talk about this one in a minute, that uses 2 of our pieces. This is the back side of our paper. I should have shown you that. That's the good thing about when you do One Sheet Wonders, you have the back side. So that's the back side of the stars. You could put the star on there if you wanted to. And let's see, one more. This one I did on a note card, one of our note card bundles. And so those are our 4 cards. And then I kind of got tired. Well, there was only those little bitty pieces left. So I made an ornament. I used the star, one of our 1 by 1 pieces, and then the ornament topper. So all of that, we'll just have a few little pieces left over, and we'll talk about what we can do with. Oh, one more card, I forgot it. And this one. So 4 large cards and 1 note card. I wished I had a star for this one. It doesn't really need it, but in my mind I thought, I wish I had a star to go on there. And then I saw Katie cutting out those snowflakes, and it has a star. So I might go back and look at that snowflake star and put it there. I haven't decided. Or, even though that's not part of the One Sheet Wonder, I did think about maybe fussy cutting one of these trees to go on there. So, you know, it depends on you. If you feel like that needs a little something, you have those options. So I'm glad Katie talked to me about the star. So since these, some have embossing, heat embossing, and some are inked, that's why I would not do all 5 cards and then do 5 more cards. I would do batch of a whole bunch of these, a whole bunch of these. Otherwise, you'll be going kind of crazy. Well, let's go ahead and do this easy one here first. It's fairly easy. This one just uses one of our 4 by 1 pieces from our 6 by 6. We're going to layer it on a 4 1/8 by 1 1/8. Now, usually when I use foil, I will use tear and tape. But these are such small pieces. I went ahead and used Tombow, and they're not going anywhere. it's always been in my mind that you needed tear and tape to stick to foil because it would slide, and maybe that's a misconception on my part, but these seem to be doing fine. So that's okay. Now this is the die I completely forgot. It is in this set too, and it's another bauble. So we're going to die cut that out of some gold foil. It will fit on there. Piece of scrap I had. I love this new foil that we got. It's a little darker gold than our original gold foil. I mean, we do carry both, but this is the one that was in the Christmas. And I like the fact that it's kind of a richer gold. But both golds will certainly work. Now, I wanted my ornament to have some texture, so I ran it through this embossing folder. This is called, I believe you get two. One's flowers, and then this one, I think it's called Garden and Glass, or Glass and Garden. Not real sure. If you put it this way, your design will be pretty equal on your ornament. This is not 3D, so you just can run it through with a plate, the base plate, the white plate, and then the gray plate. Now we get a nice fancy ornament. Well, thank you, Sharon. I'm glad you enjoy my cards. Thanks for joining us, Leanne. I see you're here today. And two Leannes. So there we go. Now, Katie reminded you of this, so I'm reminding you again. Except on this one, it's a good idea to stamp your inside in case you make a mistake. So I'm going to stamp my inside first. If I make a mistake, I can flip it over. And I'm pretty much using this peace, love, and peace, wishing you peace and joy on all of my cards, all but one. And I found that these long ones, I tend to mess up more. I don't know why. Well, that came out pretty good. So, but if I did mess it up, I could always just flip this over, stamp it again, and then my layers will cover that up. So luckily, I don't have to do that on this one. I'm pretty much the world's best at messing things up. Same thing here. We're going to stamp our sentiment first. And then we'll put our card together. If I mess this up, I can turn it over. And I can tell you, I did mess that one up, and it has words on the back side. That happens. So if you wanted to do this, go ahead and cut all your paper for like 4 different sets. It's a little crooked, but not bad enough. I think I can handle it. And then you could do all your assembling at the same time. Now, I tend to like my layers be the 1/8 inch layers. If you like wider borders, I'm sure you can certainly cut your measurements accordingly. I think the older I get, though, I do like the wider borders because they're a little more forgiving, and I tend to shake a lot. Now we're ready to just get this one card done, and that's pretty quick, isn't it? This paper is forgiving because it doesn't really, I guess it has a direction, but not necessarily. So you don't have to worry about what direction your design is going. Stars can be very forgiving. We'll put our ornament on with dimensionals. I'm going to put our bow on first. This ribbon also is part of this suite. You get the black and gold and the white and gold. Could all use that with very vanilla also. It's not white, it's kind of a soft white. Now you could also do your bow and stick it on with a glue dot, but I thought we'd just make it a little harder and tie this on here. How's that? Now, I have found that when I'm tying my bows, if I tie them upside down like this, then when I turn it this way, they tend to be the right direction. If I try to tie them how I want them to look, they'll look wonky. I don't know if you have that problem or not. I don't like wonky bows. So if you have trouble with your bows looking the way you want, try doing them upside down. And then you can cut your tails off. Then I'm going to put a mini glue dot. Can get one here. Up here to hold that part down. So we go dimensional, not glue dot. Now, if you don't like, as I use a lot of dimensionals. I think I heard Joyce say she did too. So we're members of the same club. These beautiful embellishments. They're called druzy. I had to look that word up. I didn't know what it meant. It just means mottled, not knit, and they've got a little texture to them. I didn't know that's what druzy meant. This one's not coming out, so we'll just use the pointer. But aren't they pretty? They're, no, they've got a little, they've really got the same texture as our ornament. They're little grooves, and then So there's our one card. Pretty quick and easy, wasn't it? All right. I love that. All right, another one that, let's see, everything else I believe has heat embossing. Let's see about this one. No, this, yeah, they do. So we'll go ahead and get started on this one. This is going to say Christmas wishes. Now, to give this one just a little extra interest, I used some of the new textured white, I think they're called whispered textures. Can you see it's got a little linen look to it? So that's part of our design here. We'll just layer that on. Let's see, I can't see what you said, Leanne. Upside down always works better. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's because of, technically, when you think about it, we tie bows the same way we tie our shoes, our shoelaces, and our shoelaces are upside down. So that must be why we're used to that. You think? I'm not so sure. We'll wait. We'll see. Now we're going to layer with our trees showing this way. I could do the stars, but my husband and I voted on trees just to have one different. And I think the trees actually go well with it since we're going to put trees on here. Now let's go ahead and die cut our words. I'll confess on this. Usually when I have the words like the scripty words, I will use adhesive sheets. And it absolutely drove me crazy. So we're just going to use Tombow for these. I think the word Christmas was a little too long for me. If you're good with adhesive sheets, I would go ahead and use them, but it didn't work so good for me. But we all have good days and bad days about whether we can do fussy things. I would certainly save this to cut more stars because you've got some nice leftovers there. Now, one thing about these particular words, if they have an I on them, let's see, I want to make sure I get that I dot. I want to save it. Sometimes I can get it to come out. And we're going to try not to lose that. The other thing about these words is the first letter is separated from the rest of the word. So that gives you another layer of fussiness. If this is too fussy for you, you can stamp the words on this card. Now we need another. And if I was making a whole bunch of these, I probably would stamp it. But don't try to stamp on this textured paper. You can't. I tried. it just doesn't. If you wanted a little watercolory looking like an image, but the words didn't come out crisp enough, I think it would look perfect with a floral image, but not crisp words. Just maybe if it was heat embossed, but I seriously doubt it. So let's see if we can't get this on here fairly quickly. We cut it out pretty quickly. Now, if you're real fussy, you'll draw a line, a straight line, but I'm not. Or finicky, I guess is. I just put a few little drops, not much glue there. I think using the bottom of your card is going to help you line up just fine. Since it's so scripty, I think it's very forgiving as to getting it lined up. It's very fancy script, isn't it? You don't have to have glue on every single letter. Not bad. I see a little glue there. Once it dries, you can take your adhesive eraser, if you have one, and get that little bit of glue off, if it bothers you. Okay, that's not perfect, but it's fine. Now we'll just put a little dot there, a little dot there. We'll see if we can't grab those dots on our this one will have to turn up. There we go. Okay, now we're ready. Let's make sure that one's down. We can put our, we're going to wait and do our trees, and then we'll decide where this needs to go. It's really close, isn't it? But I think we can do it. Probably should have brought my Christmas down a little bit. Let's see. I think we can do it. Let's go ahead and stamp our trees. We need to heat emboss these. So we're going to do 2 of the frilly looking trees here. We'll get our embossing buddy out. Yeah, that foil makes the words pop. I agree. And our Versamark. I love when it's on a dark color. You can see it. It is harder to see on a light color, but we'll trust that we've done it right. And our new improved embossing powder, it really is. I think it heats quicker and doesn't tend to overheat. Have you ever burned your embossing powder and then it doesn't look pretty at all? But this one, I have not burned it before, so maybe that's one of the new improved parts of it. Okay. Now we don't have to do this, but if you have an image that you don't want to have embossing powder showing, you can brush it off with a brush. But since we're going to die cut ours, it's not really necessary. We'll try to do this pretty quick, not make too much noise. Now, raise your hand if once you learned heat embossing is why you decided to become a paper crafter. Most people think that's magic. It does seem like magic, doesn't it? It's like the most amazing thing that we've get to do. So we'll cut out our little... I did debate doing some of these ahead of time, but I didn't, so I think we're okay though. There's our first little tree. And our second little tree. We're going to go ahead and do another tree just like this in a minute for our next card to cut down on our cutting time. Now let's see. I think we can go ahead and put this on our card front. Do you see why I told you I messed that one up? So that's going to be our card front. And now that's our inside. And that worked just fine. Nobody knows that's there. I always like heat embossing, and I like Wink of Stella. I like the shine. Love shiny things. You could, if you wanted to, put some of the twine on this card, but I think it's got enough going on that it doesn't necessarily need ribbon or twine. Those things are your personal decision, I think. Now we want that centered as much as possible. This one will glue down. That looks good. And this one we'll put on with some dimensionals. Now, for those of you, like I said, if you don't like the black and white Christmas, can't you see this with our pretty blues and silvers? You know, grab some of that Peaceful Garden or just some of those pretty blues that we have that have a real subtle design and get some blue and silver Christmas cards. Okay. Now, this card uses the same tree, so we're going to go ahead and do that one. And we'll heat emboss this one also. That'll work. Now, I'm not sure if you can see, but this tree has gold behind it. So what we're going to do is go ahead and cut both at the same time. And then I'll show you how I got the gold to go behind there without it showing that it's been cut in half. I just wanted it to stand out a little more on the card. So I decided we'd try to give it a shadow. So we'll take our trimmer. If you're good at cutting freehand, I would go right ahead and do that, but I don't think I'm perfect at that. So now we've cut our tree in half. And now we'll just give that the shadow. We're going to cut the bottom off. We don't need that. Need to turn it this way since I'm right-handed. And using the Tombow for this also gives me a little wiggle room. I don't know that if I used tear and tape they would be stuck together forever, wouldn't they? See, it's already wiggling on me. We're going to put a star at the top, and that will cover up the little tiny gap. I don't know that anybody would really notice that there's a gap there, but they might. We'll go ahead and layer our paper. We gotta do our stamping and hope we don't mess that up. Went ahead and did the inside just to be safe. Now we're going to put Be Jolly on the outside. There's another one. You don't have to worry about it being perfect because you can be jolly and crooked. But it looks pretty straight there, doesn't it? All right, working as fast as we can. We got 2 more cards to go, but we can do it. Put this on with dimensionals. And then here's my whole bunch of stars. You can use these for embellishments. Put some drusies on here. And that's a nice simple card. Okay, our time is tight here, but I think we can pull this off here. So what we have is 2 cards that both have heat embossing. So we're going to do those both at the same time. one, the embossing is here, and one is here. I think we can remember that. And they both say Merry Christmas. That's so scary when you can't see it, isn't it? Look pretty good. You do want to make sure you keep your embossing folder pretty far away from your embossing gun, your heat gun, away from your tray so it doesn't blow all over the table. Okay, there's our two card fronts. And as I've been over here just thinking about it, we're going to use the magic of the internet here to put these two cards together. And I'm just going to show you how it works. Because we have another presentation in about 10 minutes. So we want you guys to get to have a little restroom break. So there's our card there, and it's going to have the other Christmas tree on it, and all those little extra stars. And then this one is the one that we talked about already that we're thinking about putting that one of those stars from the snowflakes on it. So we'll see how that one looks. I'll let you know how that works out, because I think that might be exactly what we need. So we're going to use our 4x1, 4 1/8 by 1 1/8, and a 2x2, and a 2 1/8. And there's our Merry Christmas card with some of the extra stars. Wonder what it'll be a surprise what I decide to put there, but we'll see. So let's review all of our cards here. The magic ones. These are the magic cards. They got done super quick. And we have, I'll move our stars out of the way. The one with the two trees. Our note card, sized card. Sometimes those are nice, little variety. And then a card with the fancy ornament on it. Now, like I reviewed, I'll tell you, if you want to do these, I would make all of these at one time, all of these at one time, and mass produce. But even at that, they're still fun to make however you do it. Maureen will be on next because Chrissy's family has the flu, which is not fun, and we want them to get over it by Thanksgiving. So Maureen's going to cover for her. Don't forget, if you want the project sheet with all our measurements, dimensions, all the different templates of the One Sheet Wonders, then place an order with your demonstrator, and you'll get that on an email, and you'll have access to the videos on YouTube for as long as you want to go back and watch them again. Thanks for joining us today. I'm sorry it went a little long, but that's okay. It was fun to make cards with you. See you later. Bye.